Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Shaun of the Dead. I'm getting ready to do a Superman, Man of Steel review. I'm here in the theater now. After I watch this, I'll finish up the rest of this video and tell you what I think of Man of Steel. Hey, what's going on, y'all? I just finished watching Man of Steel last night. I'm actually on my way to go watch World War Z right now. So stay tuned for that review. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the Man of Steel review. First off, I rate my movies on a scale of 1 to 10. I don't believe in the 1 through 5 method. It's not substantial enough to really get to the nitty-gritty of what what kind of a percentage you're really looking at. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, that's pretty short, It doesn't have a whole lot of way to go. Something can be good but not great, or great but not awesome. I mean, so there's all these little, there's a lot more minutia involved with 1 through 10 versus 1 through 5. You can really kind of break it down a little bit more specific. I'll start off by telling you the way I get a score. To me, a 5 is, what my buddy from back in the day used to say is a Sunday afternoon movie. You're bored, you watch a movie on a Sunday afternoon, and it's okay. You don't hate it, but you don't love it. It's there. You're watching it. When you're done, you don't feel bad about it, but at the same time, you don't feel overly excited either. It's just, you watched a movie, it mildly entertained you. That's a 5. Now, Man of Steel. I had some small gripes, and I had some small compliments. Let me precursor this by stating that people like to cut me off in traffic. So let me precursor this by saying that I don't like DC Comics. I did watch the Christopher Reeve Superman growing up. I watched the Batman movies as a kid. I liked them. Superman 2 has always been my favorite as far as the Superman movies are concerned. Absolutely hated the last reboot, Superman Returns. He'd come back as a deadbeat dad, and I thought that was just retarded. This one, they revamped him. They just, they went straight up with Man of Steel. They changed it so they could change their image. I thought that was a smart move. The one thing that that made me really like Superman 2 was, Kneel Before Zod, and I found out Zod was going to be in this movie, so I was excited. I was like, hey, this has got some potential. Not once did they say Kneel Before Zod. I wanted them to say Kneel Before Zod at least once, just as a little homage, but no, they didn't do it. So, I was like, okay, well, that's fine. I can live without it, but I would have preferred it. Aside from that, they show like the whole wandering Superman, trying to find himself. And at one point, he looks like Wolverine when he's trying to hold up the thing on the wheel derricks. And I was like, wow, he looks like freaking Wolverine. And I was like, it's alright. Another thing is I liked his Kryptonian appearance. I liked Jor-El and his mom. I thought that they did a great job. Russell Crowe's a phenomenal actor anyway, so he did a fantastic job. And he kicked Zod's butt. When a scientist can kick your general's butt, it shows me that either the scientist is mega hardcore, or the general's not as genetically enhanced as he should have been to be a warrior. So, just kind of throwing that thought out there at you. And they infuse Superman with the genome of every one of their species. All the bloodlines, everything. Well, that's kind of interesting. The reason I find it interesting is because now he's a worker bee, which alludes to him saying, oh, he was a good worker, to a soldier like Zod, to a scientist like his dad, to a council member like the ones that were trying to run the thing, run the show. So I mean, all around, I mean, he's got everybody's genetic makeup in his body at this point. So he is, the full package deal. And so there's a few things. They obviously show they do not believe in the death penalty on Krypton. They banish you, even if you're a murderer, a mass murderer, and a treasonist. They just banish you. And I'm like, that's a little soft, but whatever. That's their way. They did kill people in the conflict to resolve it, but once things were stopped, there was no executions. There was just exile. And I was like, that's kind of strange to me. It's okay to kill a man in conflict. That's a treasonist that is, murdering the council members, but it's not okay to execute him and his collaborators. I mean, it's a little odd, but whatever. That's their weird, funky culture. So I'll chalk it up to that. Excuse me. So, next thing is Lois Lane. Started out tenacious. She's like, hey, if we're done majoring dicks, let's get on with this. I would like to see a little bit more of her tenacity carry through. It just showed her interviewing. Every reporter interviews. I'd like to see some more tenacity, more her pushing, throwing her weight around. It showed a little bit of it, and I think we'll probably see more in the second movie, because she's a pretty tenacious chick. She's a Pulitzer Prize winning reporter, so she's hardcore. She's not fluffy by any means. His dad, Kevin Costner, the Kent parents were awesome. Mama Kent is a tough old bird. She was great. Loved her. Papa Kent was like, hey, the world's not ready for you. Not only did he love his son, he realized he was an alien, and he was like, this is bigger than the love for my son. It's going to affect the planet, because nobody believes that there's other life out there. So this is going to be a fundamental change of everything we believe. Here we go. So I think that's pretty interesting. He was like, should I let the kids die? And his dad was like, yeah. To protect this big of a secret, if you were a normal kid, they would be dead. So, yeah. And then in the tornado scene, his dad holds up his hand. He's like, no, as in, don't save me. I know why they did it. They had to do it so they could show the fortitude of his belief in his son and what he was teaching him and the values he was instilling into him. So they had to kill him. Realistically speaking, from a outside the box thinker as myself, he could have carried the little girl under the bridge. Kal-El could have easily ran out there as a youthful, athletic adult male in his 20s or whatever, and grabbed the dog and ran back in plenty of time, because he's in better shape. Not to mention he's fracking Superman. That was kind of a needless death, but they had to portray that for a reason. But it's not logical. It's not logical how he died. If he would have been inside of a burning building and Clark Kent wouldn't have been there yet, and he would have been like, oh, okay, I show up to the scene, my dad's inside of a burning building. He just threw a baby out the window and they caught it, and the building's burning down, and he goes to move to get him, and he holds up his hand. He's like, no, something that is like, obviously Clark couldn't have done in advance. Then that would have been a little bit more believable in my book, but that's still a small gripe. All in all, they did prove the point that Papa Kent was grounded and practiced what he preached, so that was good. On top of that, the fight scene. There's a lot of controversy on the fight scene. I heard a lot of people say it was way too long. And I have a buddy I talked to, he actually is into DC Comics where I'm not. And he was like, fight scene was kind of long. He's like, I felt like, they could have done away with some of the action and added a little bit more story in there, give me some more background. I like how it showed his mom taught him focus, his dad taught him, morality, and so, I mean, there's a lot of good stuff as far as that's concerned, but there is still this misplaced thing when it comes to the other Kryptonians. At first, I was excited to see all the other Kryptonians because they should have been on his power scale. He spent 33 years in the Yellow Sun. They spent a few days in the Yellow Sun, and now they're just as powerful as Superman? No. Not even close. They should be way weaker. He should be throwing them around like rag dolls, and they should be getting wounded and hurt. They mastered their abilities really, really rapidly. My buddy, we were discussing it, and it's like, okay, well, he states that I was a soldier, I'm mastering my body, blah, blah, blah. And so they kind of give you a reason. Well, fracking Superman just learned how to fly. He just learned how to fly, like, right before they come down to, right as they're coming down to Earth. He finds the ship, finds out who he is, gets a spiel from his ghost daddy, and he's like, oh, well, frack, I'm Superman, I can fly. So he starts flying around. That's the first time he flies. And I'm like, wow, okay. You spent your whole life being super strong and doing stuff, and you already know how to use your laser eyes, and you fracking can't fly? Seriously? So I thought that was a little silly. I expected him to be able to fly already. But by him waiting 33 years to learn how to fly, and then him learning how to fly kind of instantaneously, and then then Zod and his army all of a sudden learns how to fly, and Zod learns how to fly. The rest of his army learns how to use abilities. I thought it was a little silly overall, as far as that's concerned. And I hate fracking tentacles. He goes in to stop the terraforming device, and it's tentacles. Come on, seriously? Can't you do something else? Can't you have used like one of the Kryptonian flying creatures, and he had to fight one or two of those or something? No, you didn't do that, but you had the opportunity for it. Other thing is, I liked how they did away with kryptonite, and how that, the Kryptonian atmosphere is something he had to get accustomed to. Like people that are born in a low altitude, and they go to a high altitude for skiing or whatever, and they get altitude sickness. He had to adapt to the climate, and it's an adaptation of his body trying to adapt to that situation versus, him actually being, having a kryptonite per se. I like that. And it's something he can overcome in time. Other thing that I thought was cool is when he killed Zod, that he was like conflicted about it. So, because they don't kill in his society. So that's kind of my overall thoughts, and I give it a 7. So, that's kind of where it is. Stay tuned for my World War Z video. Thanks.